Hello everyone, myself Piyush Tandil, working as Assistant Professor in Electrical Engineering Department of Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. And the name of subject is Microprocessor and Microcontrollers, which comes in third year, 6th semester. Right now we are discussing the chapter number 1, that is Microprocessor Based System, and this is the module number 1.3. So microcontrollers. To make the complete microcomputer system, only microprocessor is not sufficient because it is necessary to add other peripherals such as read-only memory, read-write memory, that is RAM, input-output ports, programmable timer, serial ports, and so on. So we required all the different periphery to make a complete microcomputer. Only microprocessor is not sufficient because microprocessor is only the cheap, or we can say integrated circuit, which can only perform its predefined action, but we need to give some amount of input. We require some amount of memory to store our data. We required to perform several timer instructions, several input output operations. So at that time we required different peripherals, this type of all peripherals, to complete our microcomputers. So right now we can see, as in figure shows the block diagram of microcontrollers, we are going to see that the microcontroller incorporate all the features that are found in microprocessor. However, it has also added features to make complete microcomputer system on its own. The microcontroller has built on ROM, RAM, parallel input output device, then after serial input output and timer counters. Okay. Now we are going to see the block diagram of the microcontroller. Here, as you can see, this is the block diagram of microcontroller. Over here on the right side, we can see the parallel input output ports, from where we can give some amount of input to our microcontroller and get some amount of output from the microcontroller. So it is bidirectional. Then after serial input output ports, so this is also bidirectional because we can give some amount of serial communication with the microcontroller. Now interruption circuit, we can only give input to the interruption circuit, or whenever we require some type of interaction in our program, at that time we give some interaction to our programs. Next, that is timer and counter circuit. It is also bidirectional, or we can say this is the separate directional. So when we are going to give some amount of timer counter to our program to perform several functions and get some amount of counter type of arrangement on the output basis. So all this data is directly given to the register, that is the accumulator, general purpose register, stack pointer and program counter. Over here register is nothing but it is a memory location device, or we can store some amount of data over here in the registers. Okay. And the same signal is also directly given to the temporary register. So what are the major role of temporary register? These are not going to save the data permanently, but only at a given moment of time it is going to store that data and directly given that data to the ALU unit, that is arithmetic and logical unit. So we already studied about the ALU unit. So what's going to be happen in ALU? All the arithmetic and logical, that is we can call as a mathematical operation, are going to perform in ALU unit, right? So output of the ALU unit is directly given to the status register. So whatever the status register we define, the output is directly going to store in the status register. Again, the output of that status register is directly given to the instruction register. So whatever instruction it is going to be provided, so again the loop is going to be continuing, and the output of that status register is also directly given to the RAM, or whatever the address we are locating, or we can say output address we are locating in the RAM, we can also directly access to that. And again over here timer and control counter is over here, so this can watch out on the output of that waveform or output of the ALU unit. Okay. Now over here RAM and EPROM, or we can directly say ROM, are the main part, or we can say the memory part, where all the data are going to be stored, or all the programs are going to be stored and perform several actions. Okay. So out of this register, that is accumulator, general purpose register, stack pointer and program counter, all the memory is directly linked with the internal memory with the help of program address register. So what is the role of program address register? Program address register is going to locate a specified memory location in the RAM of that accumulator or all the registers. Okay. So this is all about the block diagram of microcontroller. Next, we are going to see the comparison between microprocessor and microcontroller. This is very important question as with respect to your examination also. So please note this down: microprocessor and microcontroller. So microprocessor contains ALU unit, control unit, that is clock and timing signal, and after different register and interruption circuit. Whereas on the other side, microcontroller contain microprocessor, memory, that is ROM RAM, and input output interfacing circuit and peripheral device such as analog to digital converter, serial input output, timer, etc. So microcontroller is advance of microprocessor, or we can say microcontroller consists of all the features of microprocessor. Okay, in microprocessor we don't have any other peripheral device, but in microcontroller we have all the other peripheral device. These are like memory, that is RAM ROM, and input output interfacing circuit, and all the analog digital converters and serial input output connections, right? Next, second, that is it has many instruction to move data between memory and CPU. So in microprocessor we can address any kind of instruction to move the data in the memory. Okay, but in the other hand, in the microcontroller it has one or more instruction to move data between memory and CPU. So we need to predefine the memory at which point we are going to locate our instructions. Next, third one, that is it has 1 or 2 bit handling instruction. In microcontroller we have it has many bit handling instruction. In microprocessor, access time for memory and input output device are more, and that timing for accessing that memory in microcontroller is less. Microprocessor based system required more hardware, and whereas on microcontroller based system required less hardware, reducing the PCB size and increasing its reliability. Microprocessor based system is more flexible in design point of view. We can design its memory, that is RAM ROM, we can design as per our requirement. We can design its input output peripheral, we can design its timer counter, we can design its serial communication, and so it is very much of flexible. Whereas the microcontroller is less flexible because all these peripheral are already mounted on that PCB or mounted on that integrated circuit. Next one, that is it has single memory map for data and code, while it has separate memory map for data and code. Again, a less number of pins are multifunctional and more number of pins are multifunction in microcontrollers. So this is the advantage of microcontrollers. Next topic that we are going to see is von Neumann and Howard architecture. No, von Neumann and Howard architecture. Okay, so first electronic computer, that is ENIAC, that is electronic numerical integrated and computers, was designed and constructed under the direction of Eckart and Mersley at the Moore's School of Engineering. Okay, this is the history of microcontroller. We can say first microcomputer is ENIAC, and where it is made? It is made by Eckart and Merkley at Moore School of Engineering. It was made of more than 18,000 vacuum tubes and 1,500 relays. Okay, ENIAC's primary function was to complete ballistic trajectory. It was able to perform nearly 5,000 addition and subtraction per second. So this is very fast for its as we can see, the first computer that is very fast as its era or at that time's technology. Now in the evolution process, Howard and Peterson Universities of United States comes up with the computer arithmetic or architecture to be used in microcomputer table and naval artillery cell distance for varying the evaluation and environmental conditions. So the key feature on the microcomputer arithmetic development by Peterson University was the computer had common memory for storing and control program as well as variable and other data instruction. Okay, common memory for storing and variable data instruction. The chief scientist for this project was von Neumann, and as the name developer, this arithmetic or this architecture is best known as von Neumann architecture because it's the name of the scientist. Next figure shows the block diagram of von Neumann architecture. It consists of process with built-in register, instruction decoder, memory and memory interface unit. Then after memory interface unit is responsible for arithmetic, or we can say arbitrary access to the memory space between reading codes, reading and writing the data with the process and the internal register. In this architecture, it is not possible to fetch the instruction code and data simultaneously. This is the disadvantage in this arithmetic or this architecture. It is not possible to fetch the instruction and code data simultaneously. Next, here is the block diagram of Van Neumann arithmetic, or here we can see this is the main memory unit interface, and over here microprocessor, and we can say process and built-in register. So here built-in register, here is our memory location, and this is directly connected with the programmable memory, variable memory and stack memory. These three memory are separated by its own but stacked on one single phase, and all this data, that is data address control, are directly given to this program memory, variable memory and stack memory, and this is directly connected with the instruction code. So this is the block diagram of von Neumann arithmetic or von Neumann architecture. Next we are going to see, however, it is possible to fetch the next instruction when current instruction not requiring memory access. Okay, because current instruction is already going to be executed at that time, next instruction we can also execute. Okay, so this feature is commonly known as prefetching. In contrast, Harvard's arithmetic or architecture suggests to have separate memory banks for program storage, code memory, program process stack, and variable ROM. So all these are separated by its own. So in Harvard architecture, we can see over here as a programmable memory that is separate from the processor stack and instruction code. So directly we can manipulate all these things. So we can also call it as a very flexible. We can change the amount of program memory as per our requirement and processor stack. Whereas processor register interface directly with the register space data that is directly connected to it. Okay. Now Harvard architecture has the advantage of executing instruction in fewer instruction cycle, that is in von Neumann architecture. This is because a much greater amount of instruction parallelism can be achieved in Harvard architectures due to the separation of the memory bank, as we already see it in the block diagram. So besides the advantage of greater amount of parallelism in Harvard architecture, Princeton architecture was preferred by scientists because the undesirability, or we can say unreliability, of the technology of that time, because at that time our technology was not that much of developed, so we required all the things stacked on only the one phase. We cannot separate all the things at that time regarding that technology. So they found the memory, they found one memory architecture one more suitable for the computers. We don't require at that time separate memory architectures. One memory architecture allows greater flexibility in developing software, primarily in the era of real-time operating system, because program counter and stack control counters are also associatable with the programmable along with that data. So we do not require that this type of memory at that time due to the less amount of technology or lack of technology. So we prefer all the memory stacked on only the one base. So at that time we required this type of system, but right now we can customize all the things due to the advanced type of development and advice in technology. So customization and greater flexibility is going to be achieved with the help of our architecture. Thank you. That's it for this today's lecture. If you have any kind of query, then please ask me in comment section. Thank you.